So point curation asks, what have I learned now having 2 points of entry or 2 points of reference? And I think he was talking about like the point of reference of Evergreen and then the point of reference of Laurier University up in Canada. But there's also the point of reference somewhat of Reed and then other colleges. But what I'm learning from these different points of reference is that there is more than a correlation between what people say or what people profess and how people act. Right? So there's these students or these faculty, there's these people who are acting in a certain way, and they're all saying basically similar things, and that those similar things basically have this jumble, this kind of stockpile of verbiage and vocabulary that's similar between all of them, and they're all kind of acting the same way. And what do I mean by that? It's that people talk about positionality, people talk about power, everything's power, and there's this, and that's all in the framework of this critical theory stuff that's being taught at colleges. It's being taught up at Laurier. It's being kind of taught at Reed. I don't know how deeply it's being taught at Reed. It's being acted out at Reed, though, with the Reedies Against Racism. And then also it was absolutely, totally saturated. I don't know what percentage, but a very large percentage of, if not the individuals that work at Evergreen, then a huge percentage of that which has power at Evergreen starts to speak in this certain way. And then you have these protests, and there's this way of acting that's very authoritarian, very totalitarian, twists things in such a way that it doesn't really. Facts don't matter so much as, I guess you could basically say feelings, which makes sense if you think of feelings as something that are powerful. So that's kind of what I'm learning. So that as I go through and, just construct bit by bit the Evergreen story, starting with that week of protests, which I've kind of spoken all around since I begun. I haven't really gone into in depth like those 4 or 5 days. As I do that, I will be able to tie in all the different emails that I have and all those different lessons that I saw taught at Evergreen, and then refer them directly to how the kids are acting. And then hopefully, and by kids I mean both adults and the students, anybody who's acting like a 2-year-old brat, like that's what I mean by kids, in the widest possible term, kids. And as I do that, I hope that I will have provided something more than anecdotal evidence that pinpoints exactly what's being taught at higher education that needs to be taken a very hard look at, and if not eradicated completely, then certainly cleaned up. Yeah, that's a bit.